Throughout my trading career, I could have saved a lot of time if I just understood the information that I'm about to teach you in this video. Now, I'm going to do this in a raw format, meaning I'm not really going to edit this video, no cuts, I'm not reading off a script, I'm not doing anything, because I believe that this is the most pure information that I could possibly give you, okay? I could, write and have a whole conversation with ChatGPT and we could come up with an entire script, but if I just speak out of the bottom of my heart, the information that I'm giving you is valuable, right? It's something that I think about. And so that's why you'll see me do these raw videos quite often, because I really just care about providing as good information as possible. And I think that doing it this way is the best way of delivering that. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can actually make money in trading. When you decide to start trading, you're going against all odds, right? You're going against everything. There is a very, very low chance of succeeding. And in this video, I'm going to do my best at explaining why the majority of people have a really hard time making money, or at least consistent money, when it comes to their trading. What we're going to be looking at is unprofitable traders, and then we're going to look at profitable traders, and then I'm going to show you the difference that you should be paying attention to, because there's a lot of differences, but there's a few key ones that I believe is what actually separates profitable traders from unprofitable traders. So right here, we are looking at the majority of unprofitable traders, right? We could say unprofitable trader 1, 2, and 3. Now, what these three here have in common is that they try supply and demand because they see it on YouTube, or maybe it's trending on Twitter. They then realize that supply and demand doesn't really work, so then they move on to support and resistance. They may be trading support and resistance for a month or two. They're not seeing the results that they want, so then they start trading ICT. This might go on for a little bit, and then once they realize that, well, I'm actually not making money trading ICT either, they go back to supply and demand, back to the support and resistance, back to ICT, and the cycle just continues, right? Not only do they continue to switch between trading strategies, they also can't really figure out whether scalping or swing trading is for them. Scalp trading is what the majority of beginner traders are more drawn towards, because that is realistically what is shown the most on social media, and so it makes sense. Now, they will then try out scalp trading, and then they won't make any money. And because they've already jumped from strategy to strategy for months on end, they are now going to blame scalp trading for the reason that they're not making money. They're then going to switch into swing trading instead, because now they believe that scalp trading is what's holding them back. They then realize that swing trading made no difference, right? They are still not making any money. And so now they blame swing trading. They watch a few videos on YouTube, and boom, we're back to scalp trading, and the cycle continues. This is the majority of traders. Now, this pattern repeats for years on end for the majority of people. A lot of people quit before this cycle is finished, right? They quit because they keep switching between all of these technical strategies, and they also switch between their approach to trading overall, and they quit before they actually figure out what they want to do. This is why the majority of retail traders continue to lose money. It's not an easy industry. It's not meant to be an easy industry. But after watching this video, you now know that I guarantee that this is what 99% of people are doing. And if 99% of people are doing it this way, it probably means that you shouldn't be doing it that way. Now, if we now scroll down here a little bit, we're going to take a look at a few profitable traders. Now, the first one here is Umar Ashraf. He has proven himself multiple times with, live logins and broker statements and everything in between. These are people that I think have proven themselves enough for me to qualify them as profitable. Now, let's take a look at Umar, right? He's a scalp trader primarily. I know he swing trades stocks every now and then, but primarily he's a scalp trader. And he uses order flow tools, meaning he's looking at things like a heat or a book map and footprint charts and things like that to figure out where the market is going next, essentially, right? And so that is one example of order flow trading working. Now, let's take a look at Bernd Skorpinski, I believe his name is. He is without a doubt, one of the most proven traders in the industry, as he has been on the number one of the FTML leaderboards, I think 100 and something times. And so he is, the proof is in the pudding. He's a swing trader, and he primarily focuses on supply and demand mixed with fundamental analysis. So he is yet another example of this system working, which is supply and demand, which if we come up here, we can see that the majority of retail traders avoid, right? They look at supply and demand, and then they ditch it for support and resistance or something else. Now, Burn right here is a perfect example that this strategy does work. Now, let's take a look at Justin Werlin. He is also a proven trader. Now, he trades ICT, and the reason why I say he's a proven trader is because he live trades in front of hundreds of people on a daily basis, and that is, for me, enough to qualify them as profitable, at least if, there's good feedback from the students and everything. He's also a scalp trader. He primarily trades futures, whereas Burnt trades forex, and Umar here also trades futures and stocks. So he's an ICT trader, and he is proof that ICT does work with the right person. So he's yet another example of one of these strategies up here actually working. Now, Wakar here, he trades SMC, which is liquidity traps, liquidity inducements, and these things. I'm not super familiar with the SMC concept, but I know he trades it. He is also arguably a proven trader who often gives out trades ahead of time on his Twitter. So he is also an example of one of these strategies actually working, right? And so when we look at this, we should be able to tell ourselves that, it's not the strategy, it's the person, right? So you have to understand that a profitable strategy doesn't qualify a profitable trader. Okay, the person is what qualifies profitability, and this right here is proof of it. You actually don't need any more proof than this, because right here there's proof of the most popular trading strategies working. Right, these people right here prove to you that the strategies that they're using are working. Right, and they're all using different systems, and so it can't be the technical analysis that's wrong, because all these people are not trading the same thing. They're all trading differently. They're all having different risk approach. They're all having different technical analysis approaches, right? And so this really just goes to show that switching and jumping between systems is a waste of time. Now, some people will argue that it's not a waste of time because at the end of the day, you will have more knowledge regarding technical analysis if you spent the first 1 or 2 years jumping in between systems. And yes, that is true. You will know a lot more strategies than a person who just picked a system and stuck with it. That's obvious, right? You will know a lot more models and concepts than that person. But that doesn't matter. In fact, it might even make it harder. The more you know, the more your brain has to process every time you look at the charts. So if you know order flow trading and you're looking at footprint charts and book maps, you also know supply and demand, you also know ICT and SMC. When you look at a chart, you see 1,000 different things telling you 1,000 different things, essentially, right? And so it might actually be worse for a person to know a lot of technical analysis than to know as little as possible. Because if you only know one particular way of looking at the market, let's say that is supply and demand, you're not worried about what the footprint charts are looking like. You're not worried about what the fair value gaps are saying. You're not worried about whether there's a liquidity inducement at the lows. None of these things are really affecting you, right? And so knowing less often means more, essentially, when it comes to trading, right? So that argument you can throw out the window, in my opinion. If I could go back in time, I would pick one single system and I would trade it until the end of times. Now, does that mean that I'm a robot and I have to trade everything mechanically? Absolutely not, right? You can trade things discretionary, but still use the same overall approach. And so if I was a supply and demand trader, I may notice certain things that are beneficial to me in my supply and demand trading in bull markets. And then I may notice things that are beneficial to me in my supply and demand trading in bear markets. And then I may adjust my system according to the current market condition, right? That is things that I can do, but I'm still using the same overall analogy when I look at the market. I'm not suddenly starting to pull up footprint charts because I saw Umar Ashraf make a good amount of money using it. That's not what I'm going to do, because if we come back up here, That is what all of these people are doing. And what these three have in common is that they all make absolutely zero money. Right? So we don't want to become part of these people. So we're not going to do that. What we are going to do is follow these people because they are the profitable traders. Whenever Umar Ashraf is going through a losing streak, he's still not worried about ICT. He's not worried about fair value gaps or order blocks, right? He's also not worried about liquidity traps or whatever. No, he is still worried about what the footprint charts are telling him and what the book map is looking like. That is what he's worried about, regardless of him being in a losing streak or a winning streak. And that is exactly why Umar is a profitable trader. But what ties all of these people here together is their experience, okay? They have traded for so long that they have come to the conclusion that sticking to a singular system is really what is going to make you money at the end of the day. Now, all of that didn't come overnight, right? It took experience. And most of these traders started whenever there were very little to no information on the internet. So these people had to figure it out all on their own. And so they didn't have access to a video like you're watching right now. And so that's why it may have taken these people very, very long to become profitable, but they're also great examples, right? Now, you do have access to a video like this where I am sitting here and telling you that the reason why these people are profitable is because they understand that sticking to the same system and being very loyal to that system throughout the end of times is exactly what separates these four people from these three people, right? Now, it's also a question of discipline, because without discipline, you're not going to be able to follow the same system and be loyal to that system. But how do we develop discipline? Discipline is quite easy to develop, actually. It's not easy to develop. I shouldn't say that. I should say it's easy to understand how to develop it. If I were to ask you, how would you develop discipline outside of the market? It has nothing to do with your computer, right? You'd probably say, well, if I were to try and develop discipline to get a certain physique, well, then I would probably have to force myself to go to the gym whenever I'm not motivated. That's one way of developing discipline. Another way is coming to the understanding that you are never going to achieve anything of significance without it. And so you're going to have to force yourself to do the things which you don't want to do, right? Mike Tyson once said, discipline is doing what you hate, but doing it like you love it. And that's very true, right? These things here is what these people understood. And that's exactly why these people now make a living from the market, okay? Now, the experience part of this is not as important to you as it were to them, because again, when they started trading, they didn't have access to the information that you have now. So they couldn't learn from other people's experiences, which is why it took them so long. Now, you can learn from my experience and you can learn from their experience, and they're probably going to tell you the exact same thing as I'm going to tell you. The reason why people don't want to do this is because it's mundane. It's not fun. What is fun is getting to know another strategy and thinking that you found, the hidden piece to the puzzle, right? That's exciting. It's exciting knowing that this could be it. This could be what changes my entire career. This strategy is going to be what makes me a millionaire. All that is super exciting, right? But you have to understand that profitable trading is not fun. It's mundane. It's not supposed to be fun. Running an e-com brand or any other business for that matter is not necessarily fun either. It's not fun sitting up at night, writing Excel sheets, taking care of all your employees on Slack, answering emails all night. None of that stuff is fun, but it's required in order to succeed in that industry. So the same goes for trading. It's not supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be exciting. If it was fun and exciting, well, then there would be a lot more people doing it, and there would be a lot more people that are profitable. So it's not supposed to be exciting, right? And you really have to understand that. That right there would have saved me years and years of trial and error, essentially. And so what I want you to do is utilize the privilege that you have of the information on YouTube or on Google or, on a video like this to your advantage, right? Because what you have, which these people didn't have, is information. So use it, right? You can learn from my experience. I have gone through it all. I have also been a part of these three people right here. And so I can tell you confidently that all that I'm telling you in this video is exactly what I would do if I had the chance to start over again. And so you can do with that information as you will. But what I just don't want you guys to do is being stuck in this same old boring loop, or maybe not even boring, just this loop, and eventually quitting because you think it doesn't work, when I've just given you the blueprint to success in trading. And I'm not just talking out of my ass, right? I'm actually talking from the bottom of my heart. And before I make these videos, I sit down and I really try to understand what I'm going to say, what affected me throughout my career, what did I wish I would have done different. And that's exactly what I'm telling you. And again, you can do with that information as you will. You can also just go back and try all the different systems that are available, because there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different ways that you can trade. And you can jump in between those all you want. All I'm saying is you're not going to get to where you want if you continue to do that. Simple as that. So if you're going to take anything away from this video, let it be that trading is supposed to be mundane and boring. It's supposed to be repeatable. It's supposed to be boring, emotionless, and all these different things. So don't think that it has to be exciting. If you are super excited, you're either brand new or you're doing things wrong. That's it. End of story. So thank you a lot for watching. This was the best information that I could give you, and the information that I wish I had heard before I started switching systems every other month. So if you listen to the information that I gave you in this video can save you years of trial and error, because you are learning from my mistakes, essentially, or my experience. So thank you a lot for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.